Okay, guys, Panzer J back. I'm here on turn number 12 of Operation GoldenEye, 12.4 and 12.5, the Commonwealth and the Free French. So I believe this is January 1942. So there's a lot of combat moves this turn. By far, the most combat moves I've done in a single turn is the UK. Most of them are just walk-ins. So, but I have placed little markers around the globe just to remind me of where I'm attacking this turn. So overall, before I get into the UK's turn, just wanted to talk about the seeming inexorable march that the Axis are on right now. Japan, Boston Bruce, no matter what you seem to throw at him here, even when he's getting assaulted from every direction, he's still finding a way to not only stay in the fight here, but give the Allies and now even the Russians all kinds of problems. So definitely got some issues in the Pacific. And then in Europe, we've been safe from German aggression for quite a while now. But Global War 36 is just at the doorsteps of Moscow. He's got a huge force in Arel Kursk. Madman Dan has fortified Moscow pretty well. This marker over here on the right is what's in Moscow, so that is a ton of shit. But nonetheless, Russia is definitely in trouble. So the UK needs to break out of their home sanctuary there and start applying some pressure where it can. If not, then I'm afraid the Axis will become too strong and we'll be in trouble. So it might already be a little bit too late. Maybe I should have done this a turn or two ago, but we'll see. So on to tech rolls. So the UK has 3 tech rolls again. And we've completed 5 techs, and we're only on the board for 1 other tech right now, and that's improved factory. So we're going to try for that. That's at stage 1. And then I guess we will go for jet fighters. And I'm not even really sure, to be honest with you. I guess advanced artillery. So advanced artillery takes a 7 or higher. And we got a 6, so we missed that. Jet fighters 8 or higher. 4 misses. And then improved factories are 7 or higher. And we got a 9, it looks like. So we hit 1 of 3. I think that's the second turn in a row that I've 1 of 3. So that kind of is balancing out my good luck the previous couple turns. So let's move improved factories up 1 to stage 2. Okay. So on to purchases. So I did have 35, but I'm down to 34 as the UK because Boston Bruce successfully laid some mines with his sub. So for 34, we're going to spend 30 of it. We are going to buy 4 artillery for 16, 4 infantry for 12, that's 28, and we're doing a militia upgrade in Eastern Egypt for 2, that's 30. And then this other $4 we're sending to the Russians to pay off the air transport they sent us. So if you look up here, there's nothing that can stop it. We can leave from London, make its way up around Norway and into Kola. So that's not an issue. So that's our full 34, 30 on ourselves and 4 to the Russians. Then the FEC had 11 and they're going to spend 10 of it. We're going to buy 2 colonial infantry for 4 apiece and a militia for 2. So save $1 for the FEC. Anzac has 6 to spend, and they're spending all 6. 2 militia for, 3 militia, 2 apiece. That's 6. And then the Free French have $3, and they're just going to save that $3. So on to combat. Okay, let's start over here in Europe first. So combat number 1. Okay, so this force here in London consists of down here. So we are going to take our newly lend-leased air transport. Thank you, Russia. And pick up one of our 2 airborne. And we are going to come over. I am at a airfield, and I also have long-range aircraft. So that's +2. Let's double check. I knew London was an airfield, but just double check. So yes, so we can move a total of 8 with our air transport. So it's going to go 1 the English Channel, 2 Picardy, 3 Alsace-Lorraine, 4 Bavaria, and drop him off in Bavaria. Now, Global War 36 enthusiast does have a jet in Western Germany, but he has no ground units in Bavaria, so he can't scramble. So we should take that with a walk-in. That's worth $3. So I'm going to keep track of that on this die, so I don't have to keep going back and forth to the board. So that's up 3 for the UK. Then we have we have 4 naval transports here in C Zone 10. And that's this fleet over here on this marker. So those 4 transports are going to pick up these 4 infantry in northern England and go 1, 2 into the English Channel. Then off of, in London, they're picking up, because there's 1 infantry on each of those 4 naval transports. So they're picking up an AA gun and 3 medium armor from London. Okay, so that's now all 4 transports are at full capacity. So we are going to go ahead and drop 1 infantry off in the Netherlands. That was battle number 2. That's another walk-in. So that's worth $2. So we're up to, if I can find it, we're up to 5. Then, in Normandy, we are dropping off the AA gun, which was on the same transport as that infantry, and they are in the same sea zone, so the transport can drop off in 2 land zones. Both Normandy and the Netherlands are there in Sea Zone 25. And then the other 3 transports have the 3 medium armor being dropped off in Normandy, along with the 3 infantry. So Normandy is worth $1, so that's up to $6 for Germany. Okay, then also in London, we have 6 Marines. So 1 Marine can cross the English Channel here, a narrow crossing. There's no coastal artillery and no enemy ships, so they can't be prevented. So 1 Marine is going to cross into Belgium. That's 2, so that's up to 8. Another Marine is going to cross over here and go into Picardy. And that's worth another $1. So that's up to $9. So those are the 5 combat moves in Europe. So let's go ahead and take this marker off. We did that. Okay, so then over in Africa, we have 4 infantry in British Somaliland. So we are now at war with Italy. Italy declared war on us last turn. So 1 infantry is going to come over 1 into Abyssinia. It's not worth any money, but we're going in there. Then 1 infantry is going to come down 1 to Italian Somaliland, and that is worth $1. So now that moves us up to $10. We've gone up 10 IPP. Okay. Then combat number 8 is actually going to involve some die rolling. So off of this fleet here in 84, we are coming down to get rid of this destroyer. So we've got 2 torpedo boat destroyers coming down. The fighter that is on the light carrier there in 84 is going to come down 1. And then our medium bomber from British Malay is going to come 1, 2, 3 and land, or not land, but attack that Japanese destroyer. And then there was a little bit of controversy. We were going back and forth, and And I was glad we were, because I wanted to make sure everything was okay before I recorded this turn and screwed anything up. So once we're clear here, the rest of this naval force here in 84 can now move on non-combat. And even though Boston Bruce has a sub here in 83, it can't prevent non-combat movement. So all of these ships can move, and I'm at a major port, so they get +1. That's saved for non-combat, but I just wanted to put that out there. So his sub cannot prevent that movement. Then attack number 9 is going to be here in Haryana. So this cavalry is going to come up 1 and take that. So that's up to, well, actually, that's just 10 for the UK, and that's 1 for the FEC. And then one of these 3 infantry in Maharashtra is going to come over 1 to southern India, attack number 10, and take that. Okay. And then the 11th and final battle is going to be here in Siam. We are going to carpet bomb that one Japanese Marine with our strap bomber in British Malaya. Again, he's in jungle, so I'll only get 1 die roll, but we'll see if we can kill him. And those are 11 moves. So we went up 10 as the UK and 2 as the FEC. So let's go ahead and mark that up now. So Germany, I believe I took down 9. So they should drop to 59. And Italy was down 1 to 11. Japan dropped 2 to 51. And then the UK went up 10 from 24 to 34. And the FEC went up 2 from 3 to 5. So I believe that is correct. Let me just double check over here. Bavaria was 3. Netherlands 2. Belgium 2. That's 7. Picardy and Normandy is 9. Italian Somaliland is 10. So that's the 10 UK and then the 2 territories in India. So that's it. Okay, so now on to combat. So let's go ahead and do combat here in 85 first. So I have a medium bomber and a fighter. So the medium bomber is a 7 or less. We got an 8, so we missed. A fighter is 6 or less. A 10 misses. And 2 torpedo boat destroyers. They both miss. So now his destroyer at a 4 or less. Oh, I just killed my whole fleet. Destroyer at 4 or less. Misses. And then my medium bomber at a 7 or less. A 9 misses. A fighter 6 or less. 11 misses. 2 torpedo boat destroyers. They both miss. His destroyer misses. My medium bomber at a 7 or less. Oh my God. The fighter at 6 or less. The 2 torpedo boat destroyers. This is unbelievable. His destroyer. My medium bomber. My fighter. There. Holy shit. Finally. Okay, his destroyer in return. A 5 misses. So we take out that destroyer. That was absolutely unbelievable. That was like 4 misses with a medium bomber and 3 with a fighter. If his destroyer would have hit, I would have... Okay, so regardless, no harm, no foul, I suppose. So we take out the destroyer in 85 onto the carpet bombing in Siam. So we get 1 die roll here. I believe it's a 2 or less. And a 5, regardless, it misses. So, and that's it. So that is it for combat. So now on to non-combat. So let's start over in Europe. So we are going to have a battleship and 2 destroyers from here in Sea Zone 10 are going to come down 1 to Sea Zone 24. Okay. And then the remainder of the fleet, which is the 4 naval transports, along with a destroyer and 2 fleet carriers with 4 fighters, is all going to come down into the English Channel. Okay. And then that just leaves this lone U.S. transport there in C-Zone 10. I believe that is it for non-combat for the UK over there. Then over here in Africa, so we've got our entire fleet here in 84. So again, I am at a major port, so that's +1. So the transports are a movement of 3, so are the battleships. So we're going to take off the 3 naval transports from the card, and they are going to come 1, 2, 3, okay, into C-Zone 82. And they picked up the 2 remaining infantry in Maharashtra, and then they picked up the 2 infantry in British Somaliland and dropped all 4 of those guys off in eastern Egypt. Okay, the 3 battleships, 1, 2, 3. So they're in that C-Zone as well. So they are in C-Zone 82. The rest of the fleet, which consists of 3 destroyers, 2 subs, 5 heavy cruisers, 1 battle cruiser, 3 destroyers, and a light cruiser, I believe, or a light carrier. I believe they now all have a movement of 4 because of the major port. They are going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and go to C-Zone 81. Now let me just double check the naval movement because I want to make sure that's accurate. So we have destroyers with a movement of 3 + 1, light cruisers a movement of 3 + 1, heavy cruisers 3 + 1, a battle cruiser 3 + 1, and a light carrier 3 + 1. So yep, they all move 4 because of the major port. Then the fighter that went down 1 to 85 is going to go 2, 3, 4, and land back on that light carrier in C-Zone 81. So obviously that can make it with its movement of 4, plus I have +1 for the long-range aircraft anyways. Then the medium bomber flew 1, 2, 3 to 85. It's going to go 483, 582, 6 into eastern Egypt. And again, I apologize for this. Let me double check. I'm pretty sure medium bombers have a range of 5. They do, plus my long-range aircraft is 6. So that should be, that movement is okay for the medium bomber. On to no movement for the FEC. On to Anzac. We have 3 fighters here in southern Australia. So again, I am +1 on air movement. So 1 into Western Australia, 2 142, 3 132, 4 122, 5 into British Malaya. So all 3 of those Anzac fighters are going to land in British Malaya. And I believe that is it for non-combat. Let me just double check. I don't think anything else. I protected the transports up there. Oh, I got to fly the air transport back. So the air transport that went to Bavaria moved 4, and then it's going to move 4 back. 1 Alsace-Lorraine, 2 Picardy, 3 English Channel, 4 London. And again, with the air base and the long-range aircraft, that should be fine for its movement. Okay, so that is it for non-combat. So on to unit placement. So the 1 militia upgrade for the UK is here in eastern Egypt. So put him down. I'll take off one of these, this chip for the militia. Then we have 4 artillery, and we're placing those 4 artillery down here in London, and I'll put them on the card. And then we have 4 infantry, which we are going to put up here in northern England. And that should be it. Actually, You know what? We're going to put... never mind. That's good. Okay, so keep those there. Then on to the Far East Command. Colonial infantry can be placed in a territory with a point value. So we're going to place one of them here in Maharashtra, along with the one militia. And the other one is going to go down in British Malaya. Okay, that's it for the FEC. Anzac had 3 militia. One is going to go down in Sydney. One is going to go in Queensland. And the other is going to go down in New Zealand. And that should be it for Anzac. So now on to collect income. So the UK is at $34, and we still just have that one bonus. Unfortunately, we still have one more sub convoying us, or I believe mine laying counts because it's on the convoy line. So we just get a 3 bonus, so that's up to 37. And then we have our wartime economy roll. So let's see what we get for that. 7, decent. So that gives us 44. So $44 for the UK. As far as the FEC, they're at 5. They saved $1, so that's 6. And then I believe they still have their bonus. So what was their bonus worth? $1 or $2? Let's take a look real quick. $2 for aid in Eastern Egypt. So that's up to 8. So $8 for the FEC. Anzac is at 6. Now, I don't believe Boston Bruce has any ships now within 2 sea zones of Australia. I could be wrong. But I don't have any on the board as being within 2 sea zones. Although, I don't know, 122, 12, I mean, I guess. 1, 2. I guess those might still be within 2 zones. I'm not going to take the bonus for now. If I'm wrong, then Anzac will have an extra 2. If not, then they have $6. Okay. So that is it for the Commonwealth. The French didn't buy anything. For non-combat, we are going to go ahead and take our French fighter that's in northern Algeria. And let me think about this. It's going to go ahead and go 1, 2, 3 and fly to Eastern Egypt. And that is it for the Free French. So on to collect income. They're at 3 and they saved 3. So that will give the French $6 to spend on the next turn. So that should be it for the UK and the Free French. Turn things over to Global War 36 Enthusiast and Italy. And we'll see you guys back on turn 13. Okay, guys, I'm adding on to the video at the end real quick. Just 2 things. One, I did one non-combat move that I meant to place it somewhere else. I'm hoping the guys won't mind. And then the other thing is I should have went over the territories and what I have where. So the one non-combat move was after the fighter that had attacked the destroyer in 85, I wanted it to fly to Eastern Egypt and land there instead of on the carrier. So it would have went 1, 2, 3, 4 into Eastern Egypt. So hopefully that'll be okay with everyone. Obviously, another turn hadn't started or anything like that. So hopefully that's good to go. So that was the only change. And now I just wanted to kind of go over what I have where for my opponents. So in northern England, we've got 4 infantry and a militia. In London, we have an airborne, an air transport, a militia, 4 Marines, and 4 artillery. In the English Channel there in Sea Zone 25, we've got 4 transports, a destroyer, 2 fleet carriers with 4 fighters. We got an infantry in the Netherlands. We've got a Marine in both Picardy and Belgium. We have an airborne in Bavaria. We have 3 medium armor, 3 infantry, and an AA in Normandy. We have a battleship and 2 destroyers in 24. Down in the Med in Sea Zone 81, that fleet consists of 2 subs, an empty light carrier, 4 destroyers, 5 heavy cruisers, 1 battle cruiser, 3 destroyers. In Sea Zone 82 are 3 naval transports and 3 battleships. In Eastern Egypt, we have 6 infantry, 1 militia, 2 fighters, and a medium bomber. There's an infantry each in Abyssinia and Italian Somaliland. Over in India, we have a colonial infantry and a militia in Maharashtra, an infantry in southern India, a cavalry in Haryana, 2 torpedo boat destroyers in 85. British Malaya consists of 1 colonial infantry, 1 coastal artillery, 2 AA, 11 militia, 3 fighters, and 1 strat bomber. That's this card down here. And over in Australia, we have 3 militia in Queensland, 1 in North Wales, 3 infantry, 1 militia, 1 motorized, 1 artillery in Sydney, and 4 militia in New Zealand. And finally, over in northern Algeria, we've got 3 mountain infantry, 2 regular infantry, and a militia, along with a minor factor. There's a militia each in Morocco and Tunisia. So that should be it. So again, hopefully everybody's okay with that fighter flying to Eastern Egypt instead of on that light carrier. And that should cover everything as far as unit placement.